to that level, when you get to that level of anything I want, I can afford, that means you have settled down in wealth. That means you have settled down in wealth. And so that's our target for 5 years. But in 2 years, we want us to be able to say, by the grace of God, I can never be poor again. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the curriculum for today. And so I'm just going to take you through. Don't forget, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly, as one of the members of the community drops the link, kindly locate our YouTube channel and make sure that you subscribe to it so that every posting on the YouTube channel, you can be sure to have to receive notifications for it, and so that you can listen to them and have a full benefit of what we've been talking about for the past almost 3 months. So, what happened? So, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share my screen with you. So, now we are going to be doing something beginning from, I think it's starting next week, Monday. I think it's starting next week, Monday. It's called Setting the Goals for 2021. Setting your financial goals for 2021. I've been called upon in a community of young people to also take them through some of these things. How to set your goals, where you want to be in 2021 financially, and all of that. So I'm going to be running a 1-week program starting from Monday 21st up till Thursday, Monday to Thursday, 21 to 24th, 4 days. We'll be looking at several aspects of our finances and setting targets for ourselves in 2021. So as soon as the flyers are out, I'm going to get it across to us. We are going to continue to announce it. And like I said, if you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please get yourself on that channel so that you are not missing out. And I also told us last week that we should two people sent in testimonials last week, and which I read to us. I'm going to show it to us again. Let me just get my slides together and display those testimonials. We have 2 people who sent in their testimonials last week without soliciting for it. And you see, that's one thing that we should always do. When you have enjoyed something, don't wait until you are told. Just begin to spread the message. So let me share my screen right now. No. Okay. Somebody is saying, I thought of this topic today, setting my goal for 2021. There is no newcomer. Bukola came after my announcement. Please don't distract me. Bukola came after my announcement. Just wait. Bukola, the way we interact here also is that as I'm talking, everything I say that hits you, everything I say that touches you, as in register something sensible to you, type it in the chat box. We engage ourselves in the chat box. I thought of this topic today, setting my financial goal for 2021. That means you are in the spirit. So keep it up. We are going to be running a 1-week program next week, 21 to 24th, setting my financial goal for 2021. And we're going to be discussing extensively about defined ambition. That's going to be a whole day topic. We'll be looking at defined ambition in a very detailed way. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me quickly share my screen with you. This is a testimonial for someone, one of the members of the community. If you are seeing this testimonial, please type a 2 in the chat box for me. If you are seeing this testimonial that I'm displaying, type a 2 for me in the chat box. And like I said last week, you can take a snap of this testimonial and use it to develop your own testimonial. Now, how are testimonials written? How are testimonials written? Now, for a program like this, like I said, in about 150 words, talk about the mentorship training. That is what we are doing right now. Talk about the mentorship training. Talk about the changes that you have experienced in your financial life. Talk about the changes that you have experienced in your earnings due to the things that you learned from this training, your income, your earnings. Then talk about the mentor's contribution to all of this, the mentor's contribution to all of this, and the implication of mentorship to all of this. So talk about it. That is how to do a good testimonial. Talk about the training program, the mentorship training. Talk about the changes that you have experienced in your financial life, discipline, and whatever commitment. Talk about the changes in your earnings. As your earning, by the reason of this, as your earning changed, if there are changes, talk about it. And then talk about the mentor's contribution. How has the mentor, that is myself, having taken you through this journey, how has it contributed to the successes that you have recorded? This is how to do it in 150 words. Ladies and gentlemen, let me have it on my private chat. Or if you don't have my chat directly, send it to the person who invited you to this program, and then it will be sent to me. Thank you. So now, write your own testimonial. That is the next thing. And I also want to show you building a new systems here. And there was something I want to show you, but somehow I don't know how it disappeared from my system now. Like somebody will say, the devil is a liar. So we're going to get it back, whatever is stolen. Now, let's go straight to why we are here today, talking about the 4 classes in your journey to wealth. I said that there are 4 levels Sorry, I'm experiencing some very naughty disruption in my network here. Yes, I said there are 4 levels you must attain in your journey to wealth. 4 levels, 4 classes. And don't forget, I also said that as you journey in through that 4 classes, you are not permitted to skip class. You are not permitted to skip class. And I said, anytime you attempt to skip level, what you are doing is that you are aiming at crashing. Every time you attempt to skip levels, what you are doing is attempting at crashing. These levels must be followed systematically and chronologically. These levels must be followed systematically and chronologically, which means that you have to move from level 1 to level 2, from level 2 to level 3, and from level 3 to level 4. Any attempt to skip any level is an attempt at crashing in the journey to wealth. So don't forget, especially for those of us that are just joining us, anything I'm saying that hits you, please put it in the chat box. There's so much that you can get from that. You get retention. You get the opportunity to also win some currencies if you wish. If you are someone that think that $50 can do something to you, $20 can do something to you, you have that opportunity to also win these things. So ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 levels. In the journey to wealth, there are 4 levels that you must attain. You must attain. And you are not permitted to jump level. You know, in several things, they will say, overtaking is allowed. Overtaking is allowed. No, in this case, you can overtake, but you cannot jump level. You can overtake, but you cannot jump level. The class 1 in the journey of wealth, the class 1 is called the level of wealth accumulation. Wealth accumulation. That is the number 1, the form 1, the class 1 in the journey to wealth. It is called wealth accumulation. You can type it for me in the chat box, wealth accumulation. This is the level, and I say that this is the most critical level in your journey to wealth. This is the most critical level in your journey to wealth. This is not just critical, it's going to determine so many things. It's going to determine how long it takes you to enter into wealth. It's going to determine how much wealth you can also attain in the first place. It's going to determine a lot of it. So it's the most, I consider this level as the most critical level, the level of wealth accumulation. I also want to say that most of us are still at this level. We are still in the class 1 in the journey to attaining wealth. We are still in the class 1 in our journey to attaining wealth. If you misapply this class, you may not go far. If you misapply the class called the class 1 wealth accumulation, you might not go far. If you misapply the wealth that you have accumulated, that's why you see a lot of people, they get into in today's language we call piggy bank. They get into piggy bank. At the end of the day, when they have accumulated money from January to December, they go and spend it on maybe Christmas. They go and spend it on Christmas clothing. They go and spend it on Christmas enjoyment and all of that, end of year celebrations. You know, the way you apply the wealth accumulated at this level will also determine how much you can go. How much you can go. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that we know that this is a critical level. And I'm going to be giving you several scenarios. At each of this level, I'm going to be detailing for you several scenarios and several ways to get through this wealth accumulation stage. Wealth accumulation stage is that stage where you want to gather as much capital to be able to arrive where you intend to be. You want to gather as much capital that will help you in arriving at the point that you want to be. And that's why I said it's a serious determinant factor. For example, the volume of capital that or wealth that you're able to accumulate will determine the kind of multiplication strategies that you have to undertake, and then will determine on the size of your wealth. Now, what are the different platforms for wealth accumulation? What are the different platforms for wealth accumulation? In the traditional system, we have what we call the esusu. We have some call it ajo, some call it contribution. You know, those are models for wealth accumulation. However, I have a model which I have adopted at this class of wealth accumulation, and which I apply across board in my mentorship community for those who have signed up to practical mentorship. I have this model which I call artificial scarcity. Every member of my practical mentorship community understands it. We flaunt it. It is called artificial scarcity. And what we do is that anyone that comes into our community declares at least a 2 years artificial scarcity. That means I'm not broke, but I'm going to pretend like I'm broke. I'm not jobless, but I'm going to live like I'm jobless. I have money, but yet I'm going to live like I don't have money. You know, it's called artificial scarcity. The much of artificial scarcity that you can apply into your finance, the easier this process will be for you. Not even easy, the faster this process will be for you to be able to accumulate sufficient wealth to multiply. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, in the traditional system, we have the esusu, we have the ajo, we have the contribution. We all do it in one way or the other. In our workplace, we gather groups together, we do it. And in advanced models, we also have situations where contributions circulate among thousands of people. I mean, thousands of people. There is a model that is being borrowed in Nigeria today, which was a model that was adopted from a church in America. It was a church in America that first adopted that model, you know, and what do they do? What they do is that every member of the community is going to be contributing 924,000 naira. You will say, wow, that is much. 924,000 naira. And when you do that, as you do that, you pass it on to the next person and the next person and the next person. And what that does for you is that in a few days, in fact, by guarantee in this community, it's called Grace Family. It's called a Grace Family. The church in America is called Grace Family. And so they contribute money, and they also support 2 other people to come to join the system to contribute money. The essence is that as the community builds, you contribute, I think it's 624,000 naira, and then you're at your 3rd level, everybody brings two people. At your 3rd level, when you have 8 people contribute this, please help me with the waiting room. 8 people contribute the 624,000 to you to give you 5.2 million naira. So this also helps the community to be able to raise capital to do some massive things. Like, for example, money, you know how difficult it could be for you to gather 5.2 million. But it might be easier for you to generate 6.24 million. So if you're able to generate 6.24 million and you come into that community, 8 people contribute for you and you pack. Then the next day, if you are depending on the volume of people coming into the system, another set of 8 people contribute for the next person under you. And then they continue that way. The essence is that 624,000 is a big money, but probably it cannot execute the kind of plan that you intend to execute. But when you come into a community and people come together and build that money, then I can say in the next 3 days, I can raise 5.2 million for any project that I want to do. For example, you have an investment project and you want to invest money. Instead of you doing the social that you could take you, maybe you are packing in July or you are packing in September, it takes you 9 months for you to gather that money. But because it's a bigger community, and then there is also a way of bringing in more people into the community, as more people comes in, at the level of the third level of 8 people, 624 by 8 is contributed to you. You have 5.2 million, you can execute your project. That cycle continues. As you get your money, you go and enter under again and also give 624,000 naira. So that continue. And that this Grace family had just come to Nigeria. In case it is something that you might consider, you might get across to me after this program. I can show you there is a meeting today of that group which I already belong. And in case you may want to have more information or you desire something like that, you see, it does not take, it could take the next 5 years for you to raise 5 million. But in that Grace family, you could raise it within 2 weeks. Why? Because people are coming in, and as you are helping yourself, another person is coming to help you, and then more people are coming. As you are getting your own, you are coming in under again. And so it continues in that cycle. You might discover that 5 times in a year, you might be able to raise that 5.2 million. You can imagine 5.2 in 5 places, that's over almost 30 million naira. And you can understand what that can do in the journey of your investment and expansion and wealth creation. So I've just given you a model. Apart from traditional Isusu, there is also what we call piggy bank. It is the modernized Esusu where people are online, join a bank, a piggy bank, have a plan to always maybe make contribution, maybe daily or weekly or monthly, and then you are contributing. And then as you contribute, more a percentage is also paid to you as a kind of interest. You know, in the traditional Isusu is what you contribute that you get. But in this piggy bank, there are some piggy banks where they even give you as much as 8% profit on what you get. There is also a model which is targeted at paying of house rent. But even though it was targeted at payment of house rent, you can apply yours for a different thing. And this is being run by a very young man in Nigeria who I have personal relationship with. What it does is that you contribute 10 months of your house rent within a year, and he pays your house rent. So which means that if your house rent is 250,000, you contribute 25. No, if your house rent is 250,000, 80% of it is about 200,000 or 220,000, thereabout. So you contribute 200,000 while he pays up your rent. So, but in essence, what we are saying is that if you are aspiring to gather like a million naira, you contribute 800,000 within a year, and it gives you 1 million. You know, that is another model. All of this, I'm showing you in practical sense what this level is about. It's about gathering. It's about gathering. It's about gathering your seed. It's about gathering your seed. And for you to gather enough seed, you must restrain yourself from consumption. For you to gather enough seed at this level of capital accumulation, you must restrain yourself from consumption. Consumption is one enemy of the poor. Consumption is an enemy of the poor. Is somebody getting it? One major enemy of the poor is consumption. Poor people likes to consume. If you see a poor man eating, you will be afraid. You will be afraid. Consumption is one major enemy. Restrain. It's the one major enemy of the poor. A poor man wants to prove that he has money, and to prove it, he needs to give his child or his children very large bowl of food. You know, a poor man wants to show that he's not poor. So during Christmas, he must buy clothes, you know, for his children. It's a way to let them feel that they are not poor, you know. But a wealthy man who does not have to wait for Christmas, does not have to buy the dresses for his children at Christmas. So, you know, at this point, when, you know, where the people understand the point where opportunity is widest. Did you get that? Where the people understand the period of the year or the period of time when opportunity is at its widest. which means that, for example, Christmas is a period where opportunity is massive. Because how do you identify the time where opportunity is massive? Is a time when consumption is high. For example, many people to this year, they have not bought a bag of rice, but because of Christmas, they must buy a bag of rice. So a wealthy man will just open a rice shop, a chicken, frozen chicken and frozen fish shop just for Christmas. It's not doing it all through the year. It taps the massive opportunity during that period, and then they close shop. That profit it makes during Christmas alone is bigger than the profit of the people when they have consumed. They will come back in January and start laboring from January to November, all to no avail. The little they gather, they put it to consumption. December again, you see the massive rush. The massive rush. Let me tell you, the market is waiting for you to come and buy, especially at this end of year. They are waiting for you. They know you will come and buy clothes. They know you are poor. And to prove that you are not poor, you must use clothes to prove it. To prove that you are not poor, you must buy chicken to prove it. They will say, I remember met some years ago, we were going to have a wedding in one of our extended family. And they said, if you don't buy cow, they will laugh at us. Oh, so because people will laugh at you, you have to invest like 200,000 to buy cow. As a matter of fact, they insisted on buying a very big cow because the next door neighbor, when he wedded his child, he bought cow, and it was a big cow. They needed to buy a bigger cow. That is the mentality of the poor. And this mentality cannot take you anywhere. So like I was saying, they are waiting for you to come and buy. They know you come and buy clothes for your children. I do not find anything bad in buying clothes for your children. However, there are times when you are not yet qualified for it. I told somebody in the course of the week that this thing you are doing, say I do this, I say you are not yet qualified for it. I did this, I say you are not yet. So you must be able to tell yourself that you are not yet qualified for Christmas clothes for your children. That you are not yet qualified for Christmas chicken. That you are not yet qualified. How is Christmas stomach different from January stomach? How is Christmas body different from January, February body? It's the same body, but the mentality of the poor, we always wanted to prove. That's why we said in part of our training before that a poor man is emotional. A poor man is emotional. So because of the emotion, to be able to massage their emotion, they need to do some things to prove that they are not poor. A rich man, a wealthy man does not have to prove he's wealthy. He doesn't have to prove it. Mark Zuckerberg now don't have to wear bigger clothes to prove that he's wealthy. No, he just moves out on the street with simple jeans. And that's why something. I remember many years ago, Michael Jackson released an album. Michael Jackson of blessed memory released an album. And he used a particular spectacle, glasses, fashion spectacle. He used it in his album. And do you know what? The company label recorded its biggest sale ever. I mean, biggest sale ever. Why? Because Michael Jackson used a particular specs, and every poor man must wear that spec to prove that they are Michael Jackson's match. But who is Michael Jackson's match? Do you know the Michael Jackson ranch? How massive Michael Jackson ranch is? Just a pleasure ranch, or not a ranch that is built for commercial purpose. Have you seen or heard about Michael Jackson's estates? His estate, even to date, is worth billions of dollars. Even after his demise, it's worth billions of dollars. But because Michael Jackson, and let me tell you something, Michael Jackson could have picked that spec from just a roadside seller. He could have just picked that spec from just what do we call it? A shop, just one small shop there. But everybody moved out looking for that label on this thing. And before you know it, the company was making massive money. A wealthy man will not wear anything because someone wore it. We wear it because that's just what it feels like wearing. If it feels like wearing a knickerbocker, if it feels like wearing a three-quarter, he just wears it. Even if you consider it as a poor man dressing, he's wealthy, and nothing, no, not what he wears will convince him that he's wealthy. You know, a poor man, poor people always like to validate their, to invalidate their poverty with consumption. Poor people like to invalidate their status by consumption. So they kill cows to invalidate their status as poor person. They wear clothes to invalidate their status of wealthy. However, none of the things that they do under consumption have ever changed the status of a poor man. A poor man will always be a poor man. A wealthy man is wealthy not because of the dresses he wears, not because of the cars he drives, not because of the kind of food he eats. You know, I remember many years ago, I had to lodge in a presidential lodge, and I actually slept in the ministerial lodge, a room that was built for a minister of the Federal Republic, or for ministers of Federal Republic of Nigeria visiting that environment. And so I slept there. I slept on the bed, and in the morning, because I was given that also level of treatment in the morning, by breakfast, I saw fruits were served. Every milk is at least a three square. Fruits, the meal itself, the last course. I don't even know what last courses are, because every meal is about 5 courses. You know, I discovered that after taking the fruit, I'm full. Why? Because, and when you see what a poor man puts as his breakfast, is sufficient for a wealthy man's 1 week meal. Why? Because we try a poor man, don't forget, invalidate, not validate, invalidate, always attempt to invalidate their status by consumption. Get it right, Olusegun. A poor man invalidates. They are poor. They want to invalidate that. They want to make themselves pretend to be rich. So they want to invalidate their status as poor by consuming. You know, that's why you see. Why do you think the consumption, the rate at which people uses generating sets? Where do you think generating sets are most used? It's most used in ghettos. Generating cells are most used in ghettos, in poor people's environment. That's where generating cells are most used. You think that it's rich men that will use generating cell the more? No, sir. Let me tell you, you have a face me, I face you, self-contained or even general hall, and then there are 25 people there. You have at least 25 generating cells. Well, when you get to an environment of a wealthy man, in five houses, you might just find only 3 having generating set. Why? Because a poor man wants to prove. He wants to prove that he's not poor. So he will buy generating set. And you know, it eventually becomes a competition that when NEPA takes light, you just say, this one on, the next one say, you just get mad in that kind of environment. You get mad in that kind of environment. Ladies and gentlemen, if you misapply the wealth accumulation stage, you might remain in that stage forever. You might never have the ability to move to the next level. You might remain poor forever. So the class 1 is very, very important. I've given you examples, clear examples, and several ways by which you can accumulate wealth at this point. Now, when you have accumulated wealth, what do you do with it? As like I said, I've seen people who have accumulated wealth so much, contributing 100,000 every month. I've even seen 200,000 every month. At the end of the year, 2.4 million is spent still on consumption. I want to, there is somebody, I need to, the Christmas budget alone has taken half of the budget, half of the wealth that is accumulated. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you one way, the next class in the journey of wealth is after you have sufficiently gone through the wealth accumulation class, you go to the next class, which is called the class for wealth multiplication. Wealth multiplication. This is the next class. Whatever you have accumulated is meant to be applied in for multiplication. Everything you accumulate is meant to be multiplied. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, I said every money you earn by sweat, any salary you are paid is money earned by sweat. And monies earned by sweat are called what? They are called blood money, because it is blood that produces the sweat. So when you have labored, you have sweated, you've gone to work 24 days in a month or more, and they pay you wages. They pay you wages. They pay you wages. What do you do with it? That wages is not meant to be spent. That wages is not meant to be spent. It is meant to be multiplied. Whenever you spend what you accumulate at this level, what you earn by sweat, you are a witch and a wizard. You are not meant to spend what you get from your sweat. They are called blood money. You are not meant to feed your children with the monies you earn by your sweat. You are meant to multiply it. That is why every money you accumulate at this level, let me also remember to say that in our practical mentorship community, every member of the community has a mandate, has agreed to the principle of artificial scarcity for 2 years at least. And how do we make this happen? At least 50% of your income every month, 50% at least of your income every month is taken, is accumulated. So what it means is that if you earn 10,000, if you earn 20,000, 10,000 out of it is not your own. 50% of it is not your own. That is one way that we also, as a community, ensure that we take maximum advantage of this segment. And as the lead mentor in the community, I lead the Lord by ensuring that today 67% of my income goes into wealth accumulation. 67% of my income goes into wealth accumulation, because age is not on my side, and I know I have very limited time before I get into retirement. And at retirement, I don't want to be sweating. I don't want to sweat at retirement, so I need to gather sufficient, accumulate sufficient wealth that I will take to class 2. And what's in class 2, like I said, is called wealth multiplication. Wealth multiplication is that stage where you find opportunities and products that the wealthy take advantage of to enter into wealth. Opportunities, products that the wealthy people take advantage of to enter into wealth. I'm going to share just 3 with you this afternoon. I'm going to share just 3 with you. And I'm going to take them from the least to the most important, which means I'm going to also advise you that if you are listening to me and you are taking note and you want to act on what I'm saying, number 1, which is the least, you can put 2% of your accumulated wealth into it. Number 2, which is the next, you can put like 15%, let's say 5% into the first one, 15% of your wealth accumulated into the second one, and 80% of wealth accumulated into the third one. So I'm going to start with the first one. I'm not saying that these are the only opportunities, but I'm saying that at the stage of wealth multiplication, you identify products, you identify opportunities that the wealthy have taken advantage of to enter into their wealth. And I'm going to show you practically, as every day, let me tell you, every single day, I have opportunities that are dropping on my laps that I assess. I assess them, but because of the community that we are building, I assess them most time when I am 50% convinced, I try them. And when I've tried them and I think that with experience also, I've been able to find it comfortable to invest, I go for that to introduce it to my community. I go for that to introduce to my community. The product I want to tell you about today, one of the products is called Unpassive. 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 Let me try and stop this screen share so that I can show you Unpassive. It's one of the products that I have personally evaluated. I have also tried it, and I think by all standards, it's good. It's good for me, and I will recommend it to anybody. And however, I'm going to tell you, that's why I'm telling you, all of this, I'm taking it from the start, from the least to the highest. Let me show to you the Unpassive model, and I'm going to show it to you their website. I'm logging into the Unpassive website now. I don't do this normally on my mentorship training, but today I want to give practice. I want to give practice to some of these things. Normally I do this only on Sundays, but I want to do this today so that I can give practical example of what to do at each class, in each class. You know, if you can see this Unpassive website, can you type a 1 for me in the chat box? You are saying Unpassive website. Can you type a 1 for me quickly in the chat box? We are almost, our time is going. First time, never seen before. Can you see it? First time, never seen before technology, okay? Now, say a legacy that will take care of the next gen business magnates. I wish I could stop this and not let it move. Can you see a legacy that, trying to return it, a legacy that will preserve the next gen companies. Now, that is Unpassive for you. So now, when you look, this company is a techie company, and part of their plan is to get into, this is another Amazon waiting to happen. Another Amazon waiting to happen. Many years ago, when Amazon was going to launch out, Amazon sent a message across the world that something that had not been done before is about to be done. And so everything was being prepared. Everything was being prepared. And they said, they looked out to investors and said, in case you want to be part of this move, in case you want to be part of this move to launch something that had not been done before, you can join what they call the Go Founders position. What are Go Founders? Go Founders are people that seize opportunity in something that have not yet been revealed. You know, so you just see a skeletal design of something, and you say this thing is likely going to be massive. And so you decide to put your money into it. They are called Go Founders. Go Founders are people who are seeing a vision before it appears. That's what Go Founders are. They see vision even though it has not yet appeared. So this Amazon also sought out for Go Founders, and a few people, many people were like, how will I put money into something that I've not seen, that I've not launched? You know, so many people folded their hands, and while a few people who have a futuristic mindset, who have an eye for opportunities, saw the opportunity, and before you know it, they went buying $100, Go Founders investors a share, and you know, they kept buying it. And today, some of those $100 are now worth $200,000. This company is such, and it has a potential to be the next Amazon. However, with about less than $200, you can be a co-founder of this company. So, like I said, it's a bit speculative, but for what I have read and profiled about this company, I see that the future may be here. And so I'm willing to speculate with $200 to be able to get on board as a co-founder. In the next 2 years, the $200 might be like $200,000. The $200 might be like $100,000, you know. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is one avenue for wealth multiplication. I'm not going to talk too much about this. Another avenue for wealth multiplication is the crypto world. The crypto world. For many of us, we understand the crypto system is built on the blockchain technology. It's about the market driving the market. It's about the market being driven by market forces. And so what it means is that the buying and selling of this thing, the understanding of this thing keeps people trading in this market. And before you know it, the price adjusts either upward or downward. If someone who is holding a huge volume of, for example, Bitcoin, goes to the market and sell off its volume, it might drive the price down. So about 7 weeks ago now, on this same platform, I showed, or on the Sunday platform where I show products and opportunities, I told us about the possibility, the financial prediction around Bitcoin, that in about a week, Bitcoin was going to move from 5.2 to 7 million. And within 3 days, Bitcoin moved from 5.2 to about 6.8 million, moved to 7 million, moved to 8 million, moved to 9 million. As at the last count, Bitcoin was about 9.6 million. So you can imagine within 4 weeks, Bitcoin moved with about 4.4 million, about 4.8 million. So if you have bought one Bitcoin, you will have made a gain of about 4.8 million. So the crypto currency environment, as though they were, even though they are a bit speculative, but the advantage of having a foresight to be able to understand which one is strong enough that the percentage of fluctuation will be minimal is also something that you need to have, or have someone who is guiding you on, so that you know the kind of crypto that you can put your money into. Also in the environment of the crypto, there are also about 3 ways by which you can approach it. You can approach it by accumulating cryptos that have had recognition in the market. You can accumulate them for days like this Bitcoin thing, for days when a surge will happen. Number 2 is that you can get also crypto like Bitcoin and put it to trade if you have the expertise, or you know a company that are experts at trading in, and there's a guaranteed return on investment. Number 3 way is, especially this works for people with low capital accumulation, is to look for a financial analyst who also understands that space, that could tell you the mood of the market, and so could be able to tell you that this cryptocurrency, even though it's not yet very known in the market, but there's a prediction for a surge, maybe in a space of 1 year, sometimes 2 years. So you can begin to accumulate such kind of currencies for the time that has been predicted to surge. And so if you are lucky, there are some of them that could surge as much as 1,000%, as much as 500, 800% within 1 year. So if you are lucky, you have surge and you are able to accumulate good volume of them during the days of their surge. Some things you have bought at 100,000 could be as much as 2.5 million, could be as much as 25 million. So that is one way to put your capital to accumulation. It's one way to put your capital to accumulation. Let me now, the third one in the class of wealth multiplication, which I'm going to talk about, I said the number one, if I have 100 volume of capital, the number one, I can put 5% to it. You can see that the amount you need for subscription is not even very much. Then number two, I'll put like 15% to it, making it 20%. And then number three, I put 80% into it. And so the third one in the area of wealth multiplication is the Forex market. And I have a player in the Forex market who has consistently paid 10% in the last 25 months, Omega Pro. Omega Pro is a company that is licensed in the UK to provide Forex trading services. And in the last 25 months, I've paid consistently 10%. However, on the average, in the 25 months, they have made about 16.7% every month. So which means that this company is not just there because, yes, there are companies that do more than them, but this company is not just about to make name for paying high, but it's about to make name for longevity. That means that they have the future in their mind. There have been pressure on them to increase that rate, but they insisted that it will be 10%, and so that they can sustain the next 50 years, the next 100 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this company is owned by people, faces that are known, not companies that you will not know the faces behind them. More than 3 times the owners of the company have come to Nigeria. 7th time, the vice president of the company visited Nigeria just last month, November. And so this company has done so well. It's a place where you can multiply your wealth. Omega Pro will pay you 10% every month, and the wealth accumulated is a bit secured. Omega Pro today has a bank operational in United Kingdom, So you have that comfort that a company that owns a bank is not a company that wants to run away very quickly or anytime soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have had experiences around the Forex market where people lose their money, but this is not the kind of company. Why? Because of the assurances that we have from the structure that they have put in place. You know, like I said, if a company is getting averagely 16.7%, but it's paying 10%, which means that there's a 6.7% that is we are housing somewhere for the days in case when the company will make less than 10%, it will not come to the customer and say sorry. It goes to the buffer, to the reserve, and pays out. Ladies and gentlemen, these are opportunities around wealth multiplication. Every wealth that you have accumulated must be brought here. And let me tell you, for you to do well at this level, especially the first and the second level, you need a mentor. You need someone who could guide you. Many people have raised capital and they have wasted the capital. Many people have raised capital and they have used it to celebrate Christmas. You need a mentor that will guide you and put you on a model and a community where you see people, things are working for them. One of the members of my community had celebrated just 2 weeks ago a continuous week of earning in $7 in 7 figures. I mean weekly earnings. I'm not talking about monthly salary. I'm talking about weekly earnings at 7 figures consistently for 3 weeks. So I'm sure you know what 7 figures is. That means it crossed 1 million naira point. And I'm not talking about a month salary. I'm talking about a week salary, a week income. So because of the opportunity in the community to share the things that even some that I will not come and share openly here, because we are also building a community to be able to create that culture, that community culture where everyone is growing together, everyone is understanding things the same way, everyone is talking the same way, and everybody is living the same way. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we always say that a day with a mentor can give you 10 decades ahead of your mate, can place you 10 decades ahead of your mate. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to also tell you that the person you will be in the future will depend on who you listen to today. Well, if you are listening to a poor man, like I said, to someone who I advised on an investment opportunity, and he went to share the opportunity with a cab driver, and came back to me and said, somebody told me that this thing will not work. I said, who is the person? Send the chart that they had. And I read on top of it, my cab driver, you know, and I was like, by the grace of God, with my experience in the financial systems, running over 30 years now, and somebody is putting my opinion on finance. You can put my opinion on other things. If you are talking about who knows the route best in Lagos, you can put a cab driver and I will say yes, sir. If you are talking about who knows the filling station that have fuel, I can bow to a cab driver. But when we talk in this space of finance, let me tell you, some of my opinions are not what you subject to just anybody, you know, because by the grace of God, it's a high class opinion, it's a tested experience. And so who you listen to today, the person you'll be in the future will depend on who you listen to today. And I said, in life, you are rewarded by belonging and connected to a community. And that's why we are raising that community. When you're in that community, we show you opportunity. I have received, let me tell you today, I have received opportunities, about 3, that I am still reviewing. I can show you, in fact, shortly before I came here today, you can see, if you look at my screen here, okay, if you are looking at my screen here, you will see, if you look up here, you will see 28 to 3 million. You can see how to invest 56K. I receive these opportunities, but I take my time. You can see we've had a lot of discussions today over this opportunity. You can see several things that have been forwarded to me. You can see that there was engagement. You can see today. You can see today here. So this is what I do. I use my night to do. I stay awake over the night to look for opportunities, and not just to just look for opportunities. I get these opportunities, I take my time to review them, and I come to conclusions. I put parameters in place, and I said, this is good, this is just manageable, this is okay, you know. And but whatever I'm going to sell to my community are things that I consider as okay. Let's quickly round up as we look at Form 3. The Class 3 is called wealth fortification. And this is where I hit most the people that say they love real estate. How many people are here are fans of real estate as an investment model? Please put real estate in the chat box. If you are a fan of real estate as a way of multiplying or investment, put real estate in the chat box for me quickly. Let me take a sample of people around me here. Okay, Olusegun love real estate as a model for investment. Who again is there that love real estate? Real estate is about buying land and keeping. Real estate is about buying houses and selling them. Real estate is about putting your money. Okay, Bello loves real estate. Olusegun loves real estate. Moses loves real estate as a way of multiplying wealth. But let me shock you that real estate is not in the Class 2 where wealth multiplication is. Real estate is rather in the wealth fortification stage. Let me tell you, real estate is heavily speculative. The real estate environment is heavily speculative. I give an example, 2008, but when I was telling somebody I was sharing that experience, the person reminded me that we bought that same land together. 2008 or thereabout, I bought a land. Okay, Bukola too loves real estate as a way of multiplying wealth. Now, real estate are not in the category of wealth multiplication. Real estate is rather in the level of wealth fortification. I'm going to differentiate it to you. Now, I bought that land around Suba in Abuja, Nigeria, very close to Kubwa there. And it was sold for 800,000 naira. To some that came early, it was sold around 60, 80,000 naira. But we bought for 100,000 naira. And in fact, they showed us plan that government was going to build infrastructure in that area and all of that. And so we rushed in. I remember, I think I bought 2 or so. And today they are still in paper. Last year, I just remembered that this land should have been out, I mean, in buildable area. So I was thinking of disposing it of. Probably it will have been worth like 5 million and so on and so forth. So I got a surveyor who understands the plan of Abuja, and I said, come and take me there. And I remember that Saturday, we drove for about 2 hours. And when I got to a point where I began to be afraid for my life, am I sure these people are not taking me to go and slaughter? I told them, I'm not going again. I have to return. That from the distance and the forest where I had gotten into, I could see that that land cannot still be worth more than 100,000. You know, so as real estate is speculative. Sometimes the promise you get, you don't get the result that you are promised. You know, many estates are springing up today, especially in Abuja and Lagos, and they will tell you that in 3 months this land is going to appreciate to this. I told somebody because of the work, said, okay, you have bought this land, and they told you how many months, about 6 months. Okay, go back to the person that sold to you. He's still selling. Go back to the person and say, please, I want to sell this land. How much will you be able to sell it for me? And how early will you sell it? Will you be able to get a buyer for me? And, you know, the person went back and he said, actually, you know, that we can, you know, excuses started coming in. So that is to tell you, most time, what you are promised, you might not really get them. Your expectation is always aroused so that they can sell it. And at the time they sell it, you are locked in. For example, let me also ask you, if you love real estate and you love to buy houses, or maybe if you are able to gather capital, you can buy houses so that money can be multiplied. At least I know around Abuja here, in remote what we call it satellite towns, maybe you get like a 2-bedroom flat. If you want to buy a 3-bedroom flat in a terrace apartment, maybe you'll be getting it for like 25 million. Now, if you get if any house you get for 25 million, will probably be in a place where you can't get rent more than maximum about 500, 600,000 per month. For a house that you buy for 25 million, 30 million, rent will be around 500, 600,000. For a house you get for like 35 million, 40 million, 45 million, rent may be as high as like maybe 1 million. So let's take 25 million and rent is 500,000. How many years will it take you to recoup your investment? 500 divided by 25 million is 50 years. So it takes you 50 years to even get your capital back. So it's in the 51st year, 51 year that you start making profit. Is that wealth multiplication? Is that a way to multiply wealth? No. And that is why real estate is not in the class of wealth multiplication. It's in the class of wealth fortification. And what is wealth fortification? Wealth fortification is the product that you get to guarantee the future of your wealth. So which means that I'm making consistently millions of naira from wealth multiplication process. But as I make it, let me be buying houses and tying them down as physical product that I can see and can guarantee that it will be there for me in the next 50 years, even if I don't touch it. You know, so where real estate is in wealth multiplication, and it's one of the best opportunities to divert for when you get to wealth multiplication. But please don't use real estate at the level of wealth multiplication. It's a wealth fortification process. As a matter of fact, if I knew as much as I knew more than 10 years ago when I had my house, I would have rather multiplied it than used it into house. Sometimes it's better you remain a tenant for 5 additional years so that you enter into wealth. And but when you have gotten it wrong, then there's literally nothing. And that's why in my community today, I have more than 5 people who have disposed of real estate assets like lands, because they now understand that real estate is not going to multiply that well. It can only fortify it. And you cannot fortify what you have not multiplied. Don't forget, you can write it down. You cannot fortify what you have not multiplied. So the first thing is to multiply your capital, then move it to fortification, so that the excess that you are getting from your multiplication process, you are using it to fortify. You know, like let me use the Nigerian worry man language. You take and tie something down. You know, you tie something down. That is word fortification. You don't tie something down to multiply it, but you can tie something down to fortify it. Do you get it now? You get that, my language? So word fortification is tying something down. You can't tie something down to multiply it. You tie something down to fortify it. So I want to tie down a house there so that at least from the profit I'm getting, let me know that 2 houses are somewhere, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, the next and the last class is the wealth transfer. Now, it is the wealth that you have accumulated and put to multiplication and have fortified. Now you can hand over estate to your children. You can hand over cars and buses and transport system to your children. You can hand over manufacturing companies to your children. Manufacturing companies are not wealth multiplication model. You cannot transfer those things. You can transfer them. Anything you have used as a wealth fortification model, you can transfer. So the wealth transfer is the last point where you have sustained your wealth, and then you can now say, child one, take 4 houses. Child two, take this transport company. Child three, go and take this business that I've set up. That is what is wealth transfer. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the highest level. When you are able to maintain through this class, then you can say, yes, this is wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we'll be rounding up today. If there's anything you need to consult me for privately on anything I've talked about, please, after this class, you can talk to me, you can private chat me. If someone else invited you, please connect through them, get my number and speak to me. You need a mentor. If you don't have a financial mentor, you will think everything you are doing is right. Like I told somebody who had been very much familiar with doing real estate. And, when he heard me spoke and was convinced, he returned back to me. Said, but this was just in your mind. Just created from your mind. There is no financial basis for you buying houses here and there. But you just thought it in your mind that the in thing is about buying houses. But by the time he got a mentor like me, and I was able to tell him, you cannot be buying real estate. How much have you made from the real estate? You are just tying down capital that you should be multiplying. Ladies and gentlemen, get across to me if you need further clarification, further discussion, further showing you other opportunities and how to begin in the journey. And if you want to join our practical mentorship community, please, I tell you, it is free but costly. It is free to the extent that I'm not going to charge you for it, but it's costly to the extent that the moment you join that group, you lose your power over your finance. As I take over fully, every income must be disclosed. That's what we call full disclosure agreement. Every income must be disclosed, and then I decide how much of those income is going to investment and how much is coming to you for spend. And don't forget, from the 21st to the 24th of December, we will be, so the link to join our practical mentorship is being dropped on the group. Please don't join it if you are not convinced that it's something you want to do. You can attend this training without joining the practical mentorship, but if you really want to enter into wealth in 32 years on the medium term and in 5 years on the long term, you need to be in that practical mentorship community where together we build a culture for you on how to raise income, how to grow your wealth. Don't forget, again, like I told you the last time, don't forget that in the next I will be expecting from all of you who have been here on this journey for a few weeks now to send in your testimonial for us to publish. If you have had experiences, if you have enjoyed some nice opportunities listening to me every Saturday and Sunday, we just want a 150 words, just about 150 words talking about this mentorship training. Talk about the changes in your financial life that you have experienced since you started joining these. Talk about the changes in your earning, your income since you have joined these, and then talk about the mentor's contribution to your life, just in about 150 words, so that we can publish it on our website and also on our various social media. Thank you very much. This is where we are closing it for today. Let me check the chat box. For those of you that want to join the practical mentorship, please, that's the link there. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please also, the YouTube channel is just being dropped now. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have enjoyed this training and it has made impact in you, please drop a 777. So I listened to this topic last week, but today I got better understanding. Yes, I had to do it in depth and give practical scenarios for every category, which I didn't do the last time because there were several people that contacted me and said, please, we need you to redo, even though it's on the YouTube channel, we can watch it over, but we need to watch it live again. We need you to redo it. And I know that some new things have practically remodeled that training slide, and that is why you are getting something better. Thank you, Bukola Emmanuel. Please, I brought in some dollars today to share, but nobody impressed me. By the time almost 10 minutes to the system, no new person had come. And one of the things I made up my mind, because I don't tell you what I'm going to, the method I'm going to adopt in giving. I know people have won $100 here, people have won $200 here. I don't tell you what I'm going, but the first thing I said on my list is the first person to join the group before we start. That is, as at 2 p.m., you're already online. I even extended to 2:10, you are online, and you are new. This is your first time, then you win $100. But everybody missed it. They came in after them. But no, don't worry. Every Saturday is always a good time together with me. And don't forget, from 21st to the 24th of December, we'll be running a program. They are all weekdays. We'll be running a program which we call strategizing and positioning your finance for 2021. We need to begin to think about 2021, about the kind of result that we expect in 2021, and we need to begin to plan for it. You don't get what you don't plan for. So, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow again, I'll be showing you products that the wealthy have taken advantage of to enter into their wealth. And I hope to see you then. If you think you have gotten something, okay, thank you for the 777. See you again tomorrow by 2 p.m.